interested to hear from you to see what has changed in your life just over this last, say 3 weeks, less than a month. If you think of your life like, a month ago, what has changed energetically, what has changed physically, emotionally, physically, all the things. Where have you noticed the biggest shifts? And maybe it's in all of those areas, because I for sure have felt a lot of shifts in all of those areas. I have several episodes I will be releasing about these shifts. Change happens so quickly, and it can happen so quickly, and sometimes it can be very, very like painful, and we will like fight it kicking and screaming, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. And even though I have had a lot of change in my life and I'm pretty good at change, I have considered these last few weeks to be a little bit of a struggle at first, because there was a lot of releasing that had to happen, and more structures that had to change that I just wasn't ready for. And in that, I found that, wow, actually, a lot of space was made for new creations. So, I mean, we see that all the time when you release something, when you let something go, when you have space in your, um, more space in your day, more space in your body. It's just a lot more creation happens, a lot more flow happens, juicier things happen. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to be so cryptic, but like it's just, it could be different for different people. And so in the last few weeks, I have gone to Mexico. I have had lots of experiences there and activations on the land, and with plant medicine, and in conversation, and with fire ceremonies, and just a lot of transmuting happening there. And the land and the people were just super supportive of that experience for me. And I didn't really know, I toggled back and forth between Erica and between Stormy's energy. And I didn't know that I really hadn't fully landed within my energy body or my physical body fully yet, because the integration piece of this is very big. It's very vast. It's very confusing. It's very new territory. Um, and I have taken a lot of time to really like settle into that, and knowing that this is not going to be a smooth transition or easy or something that I have done before, because I haven't. If you're just catching up now, or just to fill you in, Stormy Sage is my new name, but it is also my soul's name. I have received more of me in my body, in my energy body, and I've had this integration of my soul essentially into my physical body. And my birth name is Erica Smith, and that is, who did between portals, and who did have who has gotten me here to this point so far. And I've talked about this a little bit on one of my episodes, but what was missing was more of this like integration and full landing of the energy and of the body and of the heart. Because here, if you imagine like two different people, two different systems, I have two different birthdays, two different charts, two different energies, two different personalities, two different emotions, two different body sets. And so you imagine those as physical entities, and you're just going to smush them together. um, it sounds like it would be a Marvel movie. And that's kind of what it has been feeling like. And so, further as I integrate into it, it's like my being is different, my emotions are different, my conversations are different, my thought processes are different, my body is different, everything is needed. What is needed is different to really embrace all of this. And so Mexico and the last couple weeks of just all of these changes have just like really helped this. And even if you don't have the experience of like more of your soul coming into your body and like this experience fully, what I will say is that I know you have experienced this new version of yourself, or you're trying to create a new habit, or like when you're trying to eat healthier, move different, or you're just wanting to be different than what you have been out of self improvement or spirituality, or you have a spiritual awakening. And there's this like moment in time where you're like, you feel like you're at a fork in the road, like you have a pivot of just like you really can witness, whoa, I can look down this path and see this is how I would handle that or what I would do. And then I look down this other path that I'm literally at the same point, and I'm looking to my left, and then I'm looking to my right, and I look to my right, and then I see all of these new ways I would be, these new habits I would have, or these new conversations I'd have. And you're kind of like split right there in the middle. You could see both. And that's what happens like when we start to like change and rewire and embrace a new version of ourselves, get closer to our authentic self, to our soul self. And there is a lot of like, wait, do I do what I usually do, or do I do what this is? Is this me, or is this me? And I speak about identity a lot, and ways that you could express your identity and how that can shift yourself and change things. And this part has definitely really been, I guess, vital to this change. And I've just given myself a lot of time and like grace to like not have it all together and not be this whole new person all at once, because it's physically impossible, and just, it takes some time to get used to. And so there's a level of new communication and new energy that feels that it's just taken time to settle. And I've gotten some support with that. Um, right now, I'm in the middle of an energy detox with a really incredible woman that has this amazing container. And she's helped me facilitate the integration of that physical and energetic body within Erica and Stormy. And it was like, basically she was explaining and helping me realize that, okay, you have these like three entities within you and you have Stormy, you have Erica, and then you have the body, because our body is this separate entity that we get to have a relationship and co-creation with. Like, we're not our body's not us, but we get to like co-create this like physical life and experience in the body, why we are here. So basically, I had these three different entities really trying to be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And that creates a lot of issues and not real resonance. So, what my energy body and what the advice was of like, hey, this is what it needs to integrate this. And she said that these three things share one thing, and that is the heart. They're all sharing this one heart. And when you anchor back into the heart, that is actually the anchor point of all three. And so that led me to doing a lot more heart work, a lot more heart focused, a lot of energetic union of all of these things, all these different parts of me. And that really led to a huge wave of creation of something that I will be offering in the near future, but I won't discuss that too much right now. So basically, that has been these last few weeks of integration, and you can't really properly do that effectively while you're trying to, you know, be the new self. Like, you kind of have to like, it's like the caterpillar situation. Like, you have to cocoon, you have to be mush, you have to like just really be messy in it. You have to be a little chaotic. Like, you have to be so like chaos almost before you can bloom into the butterfly. Like, you need that, like, I don't know who I am, I'm nothing, I'm everything, you know, all of this like cocoon energy, and then you like blossom into this butterfly. So I feel like I'm coming out of the cocoon right now. I'm not necessarily feel like I'm like the flying butterfly. I'm getting there. I'm getting my wings, but I'm not quite there. So this has been what it has felt like. And I think from my experience, I can say that when you're transitioning into a new wave of being, or looking at what you want your life to be, or what like you want to be like, there's a difference. There's a gap, obviously, of who you are and who you want to be. And there's a gap of, what things that you are actively doing, things, how you are energetically, how you carry yourself, what your energy's like, the activities that you do, the people that you talk to, what you're creating. It's just there's a total different, there's a very distinct gap that is there. And sometimes this gap is like super fucking painful. And I know this from experience because I have felt the pain of feeling that, where you just want to just like leap up into that person that you are here to become, that soul connection, that soul passion, that living, the thriving, doing the things that you say you're going to do. And it's really painful when you continue to do the same habits and you keep the same beliefs and you keep all the same structures and conversations and relationships, and it gets so frustrating when you don't let yourself get to that jump. And I know this for many years. I've like stayed in this like toggling, wiggle, straddle, just keeping myself there because I don't want to fully take the jump, because takes a lot of guts and there's a lot of unknown there. Like, I wasn't ready to lose everything that was attached to that other version of me, or to the parts of Erica. And so I spent a good amount of time really sitting with the idea of what it would look like to release those areas of me that I wasn't ready to release. Because I mean, Erica was badass. She was great. I lived 30 years of being Erica. And I feel like Stormy is always kind of in the background. She came to me when I was really young, popped out, popped back in, popped out, popped back in a few times. And now fully we're ready to really embrace this second chapter of being into Stormy Sage. And so with this has come a lot of new challenges and new ways of being. And one of the things that I have really found refreshing is the ability to be able to communicate my thoughts and my feelings in a more direct way that I have ever been able to do. And this is like the incredible power of this energy finally landing. And it's kind of like, it feels like all these different missing pieces, or I had some of the puzzle pieces, and they're kind of scattered. And when you're trying to do a puzzle and you're trying to make them fit, but they don't really fit, and you're like, and then you find one that you was actually supposed to be there. And I'm like, oh, that's why it didn't fit, because that was the wrong piece. And so that's kind of what it feels like, is like this puzzle is finally coming together, and it's finally taking, like, it's gonna look like a picture, like it looks like the map. I've got all the pieces. It's just a little bit of rearranging of the pieces. And I find, like, what I think about life is that like we have our own individual path, what I consider our soul path. And along living, you find these puzzle pieces that are supposed to be your pieces of this soul path. And so you kind of follow the breadcrumbs, you follow your intuition, you follow the guidance, you follow the nudges, all the things that you call it, and you collect these pieces. And sometimes we just collect the pieces and we just like keep them there lumped up on the side of our desk, and we don't ever take the time to actually assemble it into the puzzle. Sometimes we find one piece or two pieces and we're like, yeah, I think that's it, when we have 10 more pieces to go get. So we can be at different stages of this like puzzle piece of what our soul path is. And it's kind of trying to figure out where you are in that collection space. So like I spent a huge chunk of time the last few years collecting pieces, going places, meeting people, having new experiences, like doing a lot of things that didn't really feel like they even made sense. I didn't even know why I was doing the things that I was doing. I was like, one minute I was living in an ashram for a week learning about Kundalini yoga, and then in the next minute I'm prancing around Bali and I'm dancing and I'm going to all these like incredible sacred sites, and then in another minute, I'm in St. Louis, and it just like didn't feel like they all went together, and it felt very chaotic. It is, and it can feel like that, and it probably will when you're in the collection phase. So now I'm in a phase of assembling the pieces, and it's really exciting when you start to get like clarity of what those pieces meant, why you got them, why they're important, how they go together. And it's like almost the fog lifts and you're like, whoa, now I can see the beautiful mountains that were there, or forest that's in my background. So it's a process. It takes time. And sometimes we look at other people when they're already in the mountain, crystal clear, viewpoint, and they're doing their thing, thriving in their purpose, doing the thing, all the things that you want, and you're still on the ground trying to find a piece that you're like, what the fuck am I doing? So we like can compare our journeys of where we're at, and we can compare ourselves at different points in our own journey. And we really just can't do that because we're making all different pictures. I'm making a mountain or a forest. You might be making a beach, or a sea, a mermaid. You could be making, I don't know. I'm just like thinking of things around my room right now. But the point is that our soul path is going to look different. We're making an incredible, huge puzzle that like we all individually are putting together. And I think that when we all like put together our own puzzle pieces or our own puzzle, like that is a piece of like the whole puzzle, like life puzzle, like mission on earth puzzle. And so this is kind of like just a visual representation of like what I have been really experiencing, the best way I'm trying to describe it. And I'm just really excited and super thankful right now, where I'm in a phase where I'm putting the pieces together and I'm realizing why. And it is an incredible moment where you're just like, aha, I've got the light bulb on and this is what we're doing. And so I'm really excited to like be offering new things and new creations. And with that, it really needed a new name. Erica did the Between Portals. Actually, if you've been following along this long, she started with Eternal Expansion was the podcast originally. And then we went to Between Portals, and now we're the Stormy Show. So it feels super aligned. It feels really juicy, really good. And it is going to be exciting to see what this next phase of the podcast will be, and even in myself and how I operate in that. So if I feel different, if my voice feels different, if the energy feels different, if you feel a shift, this is what it is. And this is how I'm best going to describe it. So I will do my best to transition into that. But I am super thankful that you're along for the ride. And I appreciate, just you being here for that and listening. And if you have any questions about this journey, just please reach out. And it'll just be really, it's like almost like I feel like I can take a deep breath and realize like, wow, all of the life's lessons and work up to this point is all coming together for this like just incredible package. And it feels good. So we'll still do lots of interviews, lots of solo episodes. I'll be adding in some light language again, and what my whole journey about light language has been, and really get more magic and some more witchiness in, and really share that other side of me, as well as keeping with the aliens and the channeling. I also do a lot of wellness, I guess, practices, activities, which I've talked about with colonics and all that kind of stuff. So this just really opens up to the show to be able to let you kind of be guided in your own way and your own curiosities of the episodes to your own soul path, and realize that, there are times where making a pivot, having a life pivot is necessary, and it is basically the only decision you can actually ever make when you get to a point. And if you have felt that, you know what I feel, or you know what I'm saying. Because right now, at this moment in time, changing the podcast name and changing everything again feels like I'm doing another massive pivot where I'm like, oh my God, I'm changing again. And it's interesting because at this point you think change would be so easy for me, but I was like really had struggled with this of changing it again. And you know what? It's not going to be right if it doesn't feel right. And I'm going to keep changing things until they feel right. And that is where like you end up trusting yourself way more than what like makes sense or feels weird, or, what will people think or whatever. You really need to have this like steadfast, like, I trust myself, I trust my decisions, and, this is the direction that we're going. So it feels like I'm always pivoting and rebranding things, but I'm going to keep doing it until I feel like I really get it right within myself. And yeah, so if you need a little encouragement, or you're thinking about making some sort of pivot, if it's like personally, in job and relationship and moving, in just changing, a couple of social images or whatever on Instagram or whatever, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know, like, will this be weird? Will people think X, Y, and Z?" And I just say, fuck it. Just keep doing what feels right. And that's, at the end of the day, all we can do is trust that, and just continue with the freaking pivot. Yeah. So let me know where you're at in your puzzle. If you're collecting pieces, or if you're in assembly, or you're like, wait, there was a puzzle. Maybe you're just at the beginning. So I'm gonna have creations and different levels of support um, for those different phases. So that will be coming soon to the website, to the podcast. I'll be sharing more of what I'll be offering. And until then, enjoy this new pivot and the new energy. And we will be diving into more even juicier magical episodes coming in the future.